If you don't know by now, you're tuned into Late Development Talk, which is a new series that I started really to create engagement and have conversations with inspiring people. And today I am blessed to have a friend of mine who I've had the privilege of knowing as a classmate and a friend ever since middle school. We attended a school called Satellite 4 in Brooklyn, New York, which was the first, by the way, performing arts school in Brooklyn. And it was a unique situation. It was before charter schools. A person by the name of Miss Roberts had a vision to sort of create a specialized school that focused only on performing arts. We started off with about 120 kids in a public school in PS 20 on the top floor. And we had a music department, a drama department, a dance department, and it was an amazing experience. And I could say that it was my best school experience that I've had ever in my life. The teachers and the faculty poured into us. It was a safe space. It gave us the ability to be able to pursue our passions in performing arts, and it was an amazing space. So I want to give it up for Satellite 4 and give it up for my guest, TAJ. I'm going to tell you a little bit about TAJ. People know her as TAJ, and I always wanted to know this, that your name was TAJ, and I never knew why it was TAJ until I started doing my research and realized that your full name I always knew was Tamara, but it was Tamara Antrese Johnson, and when you got married, hyphenated George. So that became TAJ, abbreviated for Tamara Antrese Johnson. TAJ is a singer, a songwriter, a producer, an actress, a two-time author, TV personality, speaker, domestic violence advocate, mother, and wife to Hall of Fame football player Eddie George. He's also a broadcaster and current coach of the HBCU, Tennessee State University. And her son is a freshman, was a freshman this last year, and was a freshman All-American. And let's give it up for TAJ. And most of us know her around the world as 1/3 of the legendary R&B group SWV. SWV was formed in 1988, originally as a gospel group. The group went on to sell more than 25 million records worldwide and counting. SWV is one of the best-selling girl groups of all time. The group's debut album, It's About Time, was released in 1992 on RCA Records and sold more than 2 million records worldwide. That's incredible. That's double platinum for a debut album of a new group. Amazing. The debut album produced classic hits like Right Here, I'm So Into You, and Weak, just to name a few, because you have many classics. SWV song, Use Your Heart, which, if I'm not mistaken, was on the second album, was the debut of super producers, the Neptunes, consisting of Chad Hugo and brought the world the first production of Pharrell Williams. That is a super duper incredible resume. Let's give it up. Everybody give it up for Tamara TAJ, as you guys know her, incredible. TAJ, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I want to go right to the beginning. I want to have a conversation, go right to from the beginning. You grew up in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy, do or die, before it was gentrified. And before it was gentrified. And to get to the point where you are, to excel to the level that you are, there has to be some sort of inspiration. So my first question for you is, when did you know you wanted to become a singer, and who inspired you to pursue your passion?
Do you remember Mr. Zwern?
I do, 100%. One of my favorite teachers ever.
Absolutely. He was a great teacher. But before he came over to Satellite 4, he was the music teacher at PS 44 where I went. folks don't know what PF means, public school. So he was there and he transferred. He left PS 44 and went over to Satellite 4. But I was in the chorus at PS 44, and I just always loved singing. I've always loved singing. Actually, I was a huge fan of Fame. I wanted to be a singer, actress, and dancer. I should have been Debbie Allen or Coco, whoever the girls were in that. Wasn't that her name, Coco?
Yeah, I
The
forgot,
girl.
but yeah, but I forgot her original name. I always remembered the original name of who she was. She's passed away recently, right? I
Yeah,
forgot. Yep,
yeah.
yep.
But I wanted to be her because I wanted to be on Fame. I wanted to do that, and but I was actually, believe it or not, I had like I was shy. I didn't
Wow.
like to be in the spotlight, not by myself. I didn't mind being in a group because then I could hide behind somebody, dash out when I want to. But if I messed up, I could be like, we all messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've always wanted to sing. That was just something I wanted to do. And there were opportunities for other groups. Laprina, I know you remember
I
Laprina.
know, I know, I know.
Laprina, Roslyn, it was somebody else, I believe
Tashika.
Vanessa. Shashika, yep, we all tried to do a group and it didn't work out. It just so happens a couple years later, SWV formed, and that was the ticket. I had to wait my turn to do it.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I don't know if you remember when we were in junior high school, we would, randomly at times go on auditions, and we went on an audition for Kids Incorporated. It was a show called Kids Incorporated.
I
And
remember.
we in our chorus, one of the songs that we learned was Mr. Postman. And
Uh-huh.
it had a lot of harmonies in it. And I remember that you guys had formed a group. It was you, Shashika, Laprina,
Laprina,
and it was one other, I forget who it was.
Roslyn.
Rosalind. And you guys went in and you guys were bent on singing Mr. Postman as a group. And when you
Uh-huh.
got there at the audition, I don't know if you remember this. When you got there at the audition, they wouldn't let you sing as a group. They wanted you guys to sing individually.
I
And I
remember.
thought myself being the tough guy. I went up there and I was like, these girls, they've been practicing. This is what you got to get them on right now as a group.
You were
And
our manager.
I was the manager. And it was funny because when we left that situation, they wanted to sign you guys as a group in
They
that in
did.
that situation. And it's funny because they thought I was so cute in what I did. They wanted to make me kind of the symbolic manager, the little
Yeah.
manager as part of the situation. And I always remembered that. But I remembered you guys came in and you sung Mr. Postman, and the harmonies was tight, the leads was tight. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
these girls are really doing it. So
Yeah.
that was a really memorable experience that I
It
had.
was. But I just remember they tried to give us this janky contract, and
Yeah,
Laprina's
I do
mother, the
remember
other
that.
parents were like,
Yeah,
no, we ain't
I
signing.
do I do remember that. I do remember that. And actually it's funny because they wanted to make you guys the female versions of New Edition. I don't know if
Yeah,
you remember that's what
I
they were
do.
saying.
I
Yeah.
remember all of that.
Yeah, they wanted to make you guys the female version of New Edition, and I remember that. It's embedded in my brain.
Those were the good
I
old days.
Yeah, it was. So you always wanted to be a singer, and you had this passion of singing, but was
Mhm.
there always music around the house? I know, like, most of the time kids get inspired by hearing, their parents or someone in their household playing music. Who was that person that was, introduced you to music?
That would probably be my parents. My mom always played music around the house. We always had the radio blasting, and I remember just always being in love with Diana Ross. Of
Wow.
course, when New Edition came out, that just changed the game. But I love Diana Ross. I love Janet Jackson. I was never really a crazy Michael Jackson fan, but I loved his music. I just always loved music. That was just something. When I was I think when I was 9, I was out with my father. We went to Dairy Queen, and he would
Okay.
always sing the theme of Dairy Queen to me, and I just love that ice cream. So while I'm licking my life away, he's steady singing.
That's funny. Well, I mean, those are great memories, right? When you can look back at it and say that
Mhm.
you now have a career that spans, over three decades.
Yeah,
And that is
31 years.
31 years. That's amazing. And that inspiration, came from your mom and dad, playing those
Mhm.
records and giving you those early memories and those early teachers pouring into you giving you
Yeah.
an opportunity to kind of pursue your passion.
Yeah.
It's funny that you said Michael Jackson, because one of the crazy things when we went to junior high school was at the height of his fame was
Uh-huh.
Emmanuel Lewis. And
Yeah.
Emmanuel Lewis, for those who don't know his government name, had a show called Webster. And
Uh-huh.
Webster, Emmanuel was about 13 years old with his own television show in the height of his career. He was, and it was, and I was speaking to him recently, and I told him how significant that was in history as a young Black person, a person of color, being able to lead their own TV show at that time. There was very few people who were doing that, and he helped pave the
Right.
way. And he was at the height of his fame. I mean, this guy would be on award shows with Michael Jackson and Quincy
Yeah.
Jones and Brooke Shields,
Yeah.
and then jet set back in the classroom and ask, what did I miss in math or Spanish?
Yeah.
Very approachable,
And he
down to
was in the
earth.
chorus. He did his
Oh,
little
in the chorus. And it is, yeah,
uh,
and it's funny because me and him always were next to each other, right? And I was always his wingman when it was time for him to leave, because he always left the performances earlier.
right.
And I would always have to move to the side and hide him, and he would kind of sneak to the back, and he would kind of go off before any frenzy was created. But
Uh-huh.
to have someone like him in our school at that time, at the height of his fame, and we all came from very social, economical, challenging sort of environments, to see someone like
Uh-huh.
him doing it, and not just doing it, but being down to earth and being
Yeah.
humble in
He was
doing it,
very humble. Very
humble and
humble.
approachable, and just like us. It kind of helped us without him even saying anything. And I tell him this all the time. It kind of helped us just kind of see that people that look like us, that come from our environment, could achieve to those levels.
Yeah,
So
for
that
sure.
was amazing. Yeah. So a second question I have for you is, how did you become a member of SWV, and what was that experience like in the beginning? Take me back.
Well, it's a funny story, right?
Okay. Yep.
So Coco and Lily were already in this group, and Lily actually started the group. She called Coco and was like, "Let's do this group." They had these two other girls that were with them. They called themselves Four Shades of Rhythm. But for
Okay.
some reason, there was always something with the other two girls. They kept having to replace them continuously. So this was during a time when they were trying to replace one of the girls. My other girlfriend who lived on my block, Amy, she was like, Cheryl. Also, Cheryl and I knew each other since we were 13 as well. She used to live in Brooklyn and then she moved to the Bronx. Well, Amy was like, Cheryl's looking for a girl to be in this group. You need to go and audition. I was like, no, I don't want to audition. I don't want to sing by myself. I don't want to do it. They're like, go up there and audition, girl. They need somebody like you, and you probably make the group. Well, I get up there and there's like two other girls auditioning, right? I'm like, oh my God, these girls are pretty. I don't know. I don't want to go up in there. So I go up in this room with Cheryl, Coco, and the producer at the time, Donald Bowden. I got lucky. He looked at me and decided he liked me. I could have sounded like Kermit the Frog that day. I was still gonna make that group. He tried to holler. So yes, I made the group that day. But
Wow.
it just so happens when we all started singing together, the harmonies were crazy. And we kept trying to put another girl in. We wanted it to be four because when the lead is going on, of course, you want to have three-part harmony. We're only able to do two-part when Coco is singing lead.
Yeah.
We always wanted another girl in the group so we could complete the harmonies at the end, but it just never worked out that way. The fourth girl was not meant to be in this group.
Wow. We were talking earlier off camera, and I was like, the intricate and the way that you guys complement each other. And I don't think people understand that level of how connected you guys are, and how those three voices together really define what SWV is. And you guys
Mhm.
have been the gold standard of girls groups and groups in general. But that intricacy of how you guys come together and put it down has been, I think, the key to your success.
Yeah, no, I agree. We sound good together. We really do. And once we started going into the studio to record, it was fun. And of course, as what I think I just turned 20, Lily was 18, Kogo was 21, and we're out here on the road promoting a record. and see it, going places we'd never been before. Like, who traveled everywhere? None of us. So we're all over the country, and it was just like, wow, Des Moines. Who would ever thought we'd be in Des Moines? But it was fun. It was fun for young girls to go out there and just literally RCA gave us whatever we wanted. So we felt like princesses, and we were spoiled, but we had a ball.
And you guys were rather young at this particular time. You
Yeah.
were just like right out of high school, maybe a couple years out of high school,
Lily
right?
was 18, I was
Yeah.
20, and Coco was 21.
Yeah. So you guys were really young in having this amazing opportunity.
Yeah,
That must have been, you
we
know,
had a ball.
yeah. I could I could imagine. I could imagine that you know, that those must have been some great days during that
Oh
time.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
I would ask you, what was the process like working on the debut album, right? And how did your life change when the album released in 1992?
See, the thing that's so crazy about this album, it would seem like it took us forever to do it. I think we probably recorded that album, when you put all the time together, probably 3.5, 4 weeks. The
Wow,
whole
that's
album.
quick for an album.
Well, but because for one, Brian Morgan did the majority of the song.
Wow.
So we had the majority of the album recorded in like 2 sessions with Brian. Then the other producers, I believe it was maybe three other producers. That didn't take long. But what it was that we didn't just record every day. We record for a week or so with Brian, and then we go and chill for a minute and go record with somebody else. I think altogether maybe about a month or so to record the album. So once everything was finished, we had to do these pictures, and for the first time, we have people waiting on us hand and foot, makeup, hair, clothes, everything. I mean, what can you say? It was a ball. Then you hear your record on the radio for the first time and lose your mind. I was
Wow.
home in my
Okay.
little 1 bedroom. It wasn't even a bedroom. I lived in a room, that a little small studio apartment, where I had to share the bathroom with the other people's on the floor. So I'm sitting there cleaning my little space with the music blasting. And next thing I hear, dun, 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 and I'm like, I call them. Of course, that was before cell phones, so I'm sitting there dialing, and we're all screaming on the phone. It was just fun. It was fun.
Well, it's crazy that you say that. Going back to your first album, so I work with hip hop pioneer and media veteran Ralph McDaniels,
Yeah,
and one of the things that I'm always like, learning something new with Ralph. Like Ralph would just randomly, I'll say, hey, we'll talk about like Jay-Z, and then he'll say something like, Jay-Z and Biggie, hosted my first album, my one of my birthday parties, and Jay-Z performed this whole Reasonable Doubt album. Like, it's just crazy, like random stuff like that only somebody like Ralph McDaniels could have like a
yeah,
historical sort of connection to. So I was
yeah.
talking to Ralph recently. I was like, I'm gonna be interviewing my friend TAJ from SWV, and he was like, I did like their first three videos, or something like just randomly. It's always
Wow.
he said he did a few of your early videos. So some of your videos, Ralph McDaniels. So, well, what I'm gonna do is he's gonna clarify that he might not have been directed. He might have produced them, because some he directed, some they produced.
Well,
So
maybe he helped out. What was the guy's name? Jordan. Yeah, we
so
had somebody.
hold that thought. Hey,
Okay.
Shefik, would you mind bringing Ralph McDaniels on? There goes Ralph. Hey, Ralph. Hey, Ralph.
He got his mic on mute.
Shefik, can you oh, okay. Ralph.
Yo.
I
Yo,
want
what's
to
up,
see
Ralph?
your face.
Hey, look, Taj. My company was called Classic Concept.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the guy's name? I cannot think of his name. Say my
My
life.
partner is Lionel Martin.
Lionel Martin.
Yeah.
That's who it was. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait
Yeah.
a minute now. Hold
So I
on.
tell
Yeah,
you,
no, Lionel.
so Taj, I'll tell you even better story. I'm walking down Halsey Street. This is before you guys come out. Your record is out. and this woman walks up to me. She's coming out of a church, and she says to me, "Oh my God, I've been looking for you. I have a group, and I want to tell you about them. They're called SWV, Sisters with Voices." So she said, "Sisters with Voices, SWV." So she was coming out of a church, so I just assumed that this was a gospel thing.
Was she on fire?
Yes. And so I said, all right, well, she said, "Ralph, you could do something with them. They're coming out. I know you guys do videos," because I did a bunch of videos around that time, directing a bunch of videos, me and Lionel. And I said, all right, no problem. So about a month later, Lionel calls me and says, "I got this song from this group called SWV. We got to do a video for it." So I said, all right. I said, "I think I know who you're talking about." and so from there, that's how our relationship with you guys started. And
Classic
so,
concept. I had no idea. I probably did, but I can't remember. But I do remember Lionel, and I remember the first 3 or 4 videos you guys did.
yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep,
I know you
yep,
did
yep.
Right Here. I'm So Into You.
We did
Week. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember.
So
And you did You're the One, right?
yeah, You're the One. Yeah. So yeah, so I told Elijah, I said, "Look, it's always great when you see an artist and something come together and it's very successful, and it's not easy when it's a group. And so I'm so proud of SWV and everything that they've done. And I can't believe, I think you guys were getting a Soul Train Award or something. And
Mhm.
Lily said, "Thank you to Ralph McDaniels and Lionel Martin," which very rarely happens. So I
Yeah.
appreciate I
Yeah,
appreciate
that was
that.
like our first award. We had to go back in time and thank everybody. We had to do a time travel. Like, man.
Well, I knew that Coco lived in Brooklyn at that time because I was on a call with her
Mhm.
during the pandemic, and she said
Mhm.
she lived in Flatbush, but I didn't realize that you were also from Brooklyn. I didn't realize that.
That's not do or die.
Come on, I was on
Gentrify.
Hall,
Gentrified.
Right.
right. I was on Halsey Street walking. I don't know where I was going, but I was going somewhere, walking past this church, and this lady said SWV, Sisters with Voices. I just expected it to be like the Clark sisters or something like that. And
Uh,
then I heard this beat. I said, "Oh, this is different." Okay.
I want to know what church she walked out of.
I don't know where it was at, but whatever it was, it was a good thing. And and
Yeah.
and every once in a while I'll see her and she'll say, "Hey, remember I told you the girls was gonna be hot?" And I said, "Yes, you were right." You were
Yeah.
right.
Maureen Singleton. That's who she
Yes,
was.
yes.
Well, it's always funny because when I talk to Ralph, he'll have stories like that, and I was talking to Ralph recently. I was like, man, every time I talk to you, like you directed this video, that you did this. I was like, man, you need to make a list of all of that. He gave me a
Classic
partial list.
concept was
Yeah,
everywhere in the
everywhere.
90s.
Yeah. And he gave me a partial list, and it was crazy. He was like, "Oh, that's not even, a third of what it was." But to think that historically that's what the body of work is so massive. And
Mhm.
I'm blessed to be able to have this connection right now and bring this together. So I'm
Yeah.
happy I was able to do this and kind of go down memory lane. And when I was talking to Ralph about it, I want him to show you something that would be a part of your history. And so
Oh
he
yeah.
has something, but he doesn't physically have it here. He has a plaque.
Oh,
He has a
Yeah, I have the
plaque.
first plaque. I have
Yeah.
the first plaque. I
do
think it was
you?
gold at the time. I think it was a gold plaque. And but it's Fashion Week here in New York, and
Mhm.
a friend of mine is doing a show, and a young guy, and he's begged me, "Ralph, please come to my show. Please come to my show." So I called Elijah. I said, "I can't bring the plaque in the car. That's I'll be doing too much." So I'm going to see my friend Malik's show, and I'm on 37th Street sitting in the car. I said, "Okay." He said, "You gotta come." So, but I wanted to just pay homage to everything that you've done, everything that you've contributed, and so much that you've given to the community. And R&B music is still alive and well for those who
Yes,
don't
it
think it
is.
is.
And doing better
Yes,
than
it
ever right
is.
now. It's
And
number one
thank
music
you.
right now.
Woo!
It
But
is.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. And we love you to death. So
Yes, yes,
that
Uncle
yes.
goes
Ralph.
without saying.
Uncle Ralph,
Thank you.
give it up for Uncle
Uncle
Ralph,
Ralph.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Ralph.
Woo!
Sorry for
Mwah,
taking you out
mwah,
your
mwah.
routine. Have a good fashion show. Speak to you soon, brother.
Hey, Elijah, also, Tuffy is on here somewhere. I'm pretty sure
Oh,
Tuffy got some
Really,
okay.
Tuffy's
I
on
get, yeah. Hey,
stuff.
yeah. Hey, Shefik, can we bring Tuffy in after Ralph, please? Thank you for telling me that. I'm trying to
Yo,
monitor, like, what's going on. Cause like, I don't see the people that's on because it's a webinar type of
yeah.
layout. So I only see me and Taj and the guest. So I can't physically see who else is on. So I have some special surprises for that I'm trying to bring on. So I'm relying on my producer to let me know in the chat. So I
Well,
got a
you're doing a great job, bro.
thank you,
Yeah.
man. I appreciate it. I appreciate that from the pro that you are. I appreciate you, bro.
Ralphie
Thank you, man.
Ralph.
Take
I'll
care,
speak
Always
to
y'all.
you
good to
soon, brother.
see you.
Bye-bye.
Speak to you soon, man.
Hey, Coco.
Okay, lady. Ralph just froze. Hold on. Okay, there you go. So hey, so throughout the day, throughout the interview, we'll have some special surprises that will come up that I have for
Okay.
you. All right. So we're gonna
Yeah.
take another question, and then I might have another surprise or something for you too.
Okay.
So this next question, I thought about this question a lot. I really did my research when I was wanting to be extremely prepared because I wanted to do this interview justice. And when I did my research about when your album came out compared to when Mary J. Blige album came out, I realized something. And I don't think most people realize this.
I didn't
That
realize that.
okay, yeah. So here's the stats on this. Mary J. Blige's debut album, What's the 411, came out in July of 1992.
Mm-hmm.
SWV debut album, It's About Time, was released in October 1992.
And
Your
TLC
album,
was released somewhere in March 92.
yeah. So the question that I started thinking about was Mary J. Blige always was labeled the Queen of Soul, and rightfully so. What
Yeah.
she brought to the table was just an incredible explosion of energy we've never seen before, right?
Yeah.
The fashion, the music, the swag, the attitude.
The black
Um,
lipstick.
yeah, it was just something that we would label black girl magic today, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I thought about though, that same sort of swag that Mary had was the same swag that SWV had. When you think about it, the true to nature outfits that you wore that represented where you
Mm-hmm.
came from, the
Mm-hmm.
music, the way that you married hip hop and R&B. Like you could do a record that had a hard beat in it, or you could do a slow down record like Weak and still have and still be felt by people on the street, from the hardest thug to the
Mm-hmm.
most sensitive person in the world. And you guys also influenced fashion. You guys were very, influential. The way that you wore your clothes, the swag and the style that you guys had.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that, both of you guys, how do you think SWV and Mary J. Blige sound of music and fashion shaped how people perceive music and fashion at that time? And also, what do you think about how important it was to give people women, black and brown women who look like them, who talk like them, who dress like them, role models to look up to?
Well, I think one of the things that was very critical at that time was the women, when they would perform, they were always done up to the hilt, big hair, lots of makeup, fancy clothes. But we wanted to be comfortable. We wanted to be cool. We wanted to represent New York. So it wasn't about flashy clothes and super weaves or whatever. We did the doobies. Remember doobies?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We did
yeah.
the Dominican blowouts. Everybody loved that. So our natural hair, our comfortable clothes, I think that just really spoke to a different generation of youngsters at that time, people who were our age. They felt comfortable enough to be comfortable. And prior to us doing that, Mary did it. She had on the baseball jersey with the boots and the hat to the back. that was comfortable because that's what you saw on the streets of New York. We're all from New York. We wanted to bring that flavor, and people just they absorbed it, and it was fun. It was cool, and it took off. After that, it seemed like everybody wanted to be hood.
Well, did you know at the time that you guys were influencing culture like that,
Not at
influencing fashion,
all.
influencing music? Did
Not
you?
at all. We
Well,
we just wanted to be comfortable. Literally, we just wanted to be comfortable. Till this day, Coco and Lily will not wear heels on stage. They do not like heels. And
okay.
that's just what we do. People are like, they always wear flats. Yeah, because we're comfortable in flats. If we can put on now, if I'm out with my husband and we going out to dinner, I'm not gonna wear no sneakers. Okay. I mean, there are times for shoes, but they don't want to wear them on stage. And that's just that. I can't tell anybody anything different. It's no medical condition. It's just they don't want to wear shoes.
Wow. Well, that's I was really thinking about that and how much of an influence you guys really had on fashion, on music, on lifestyle. Before all of that was popular, you guys were giving people a window into their culture,
Yeah,
and saying it's okay to be comfortable. Like it's okay to be
absolutely.
comfortable. Like you don't
Absolutely.
have to be all done up. It's okay to walk into a room as you are, and represent your culture the way that you
That's
feel you
what's
need to represent it.
crazy. Back then, when I look at old pictures, there were no eyelashes. There was no mountain of foundation and all this stuff that we do now. I don't know what influencers would have done back then because we didn't do all of that. We didn't do all of that. And you were still beautiful, naturally beautiful. So nothing wrong with makeup today. I
Yeah,
mean, as long as you know how to do it, it's
yeah.
fine. But we didn't do all of that back then. So as long as you had an eyeliner pencil and some lip gloss, you were straight. If you were beautiful, you were beautiful. There was no enhancement. You didn't wipe off the paint and then this whole other person step out. It just didn't happen back then.
Well, that's incredible. Like I think that's kind of the way that things happen that are meant to be. They happen organically,
Hmm.
and by you just being yourself, by the group just being yourself, and individually and coming together being yourself, that came across as something that was natural and that was
Yeah.
authentic, and it resonated with millions and millions of people around the world. And
Hmm.
so we applaud you guys for
Thank you.
the influence that you had in showing representation to Black and Brown people at that
Hmm.
time. Um,
Thank you.
applaud. Um, Here's another question. After this question, we're gonna bring in another surprise guest. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So over your 30-year career, there has been many memorable moments. Okay, many memorable moments and things that occurred. What is the one moment or memory that really stands out above all of them? If you had that one memory, throughout your 31-year career, what would it be?
I think the biggest thing that I was impressed with was when Michael Jackson allowed us to use his sample. We were
Wow.
the first artists. And he did a favor for Teddy Riley, but we were the
Wow.
recipients of that favor. Until
Mm,
this day, you hear that favor on the radio.
a
But it
hundred
was just,
percent.
and we never met him in person. We
Wow.
never met him in person. So it was he liked the song because nobody bless a song unless they like it. He's not going to put his material on some trash. He
Mm-hmm.
loved the song. And when Teddy showed him the remix, the idea that he had, he loved it and he let us have the sample. So I'm
Wow.
like, don't nobody talk about Michael Jackson. I don't care.
Hey, so how did you guys find out that you guys were gonna have a Michael Jackson remix to that song? And what was the feeling like? Because I know that you're talking about what year was that? Like 90
That
something,
was
right?
93.
So 93, Michael Jackson is at the pit of, he's Mount Rushmore still, and incredible, like, and then you guys find out that through the Teddy Riley relationship, because Teddy Riley was producing that record for you guys,
Teddy
that
Riley and
remix,
All Star
and yes, and
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 Pharrell.
yeah, and Pharrell was because at the early stages of Pharrell and Chad Hugo's career, they were signed to Teddy Riley as producers. Teddy Riley gave them one of their first shots.
Yep.
So, and your music is, from what I recall, is some of the first music that they were producing on.
That's him
so-
saying SWVSS.
That's
He
Pharrell?
didn't even like that part. Yeah.
And 30-something years later, people are still blasting that. What did that feel like when you guys found out that Michael Jackson was going to let you clear the sample, and when you guys heard the final product of that record?
We were ecstatic, and all we kept thinking is, "We gonna meet Michael Jackson. We gonna meet Michael." We never met Michael Jackson. We never. The closest we came to him, we were at, I believe it was the American Music Awards or the Soul Train Awards, one of them, and he was being escorted down the aisle, and we were sitting there. We wanted to say, "Michael." We never met him.
Well, I tell you what, thank God that he allowed that to happen, because that is an incredible song that, like I said, people around the world still blast, still stream, still sing. You know, and without that situation, we would have lost a cherished R&B record for sure. So big up to Teddy Riley, to All Star, to Michael Jackson, to Pharrell, and to obviously SWV for making that situation happen. That was an amazing story. Wait, do you remember when you recorded that? So the record was already recorded from the original record, right? And then you guys, did you guys do the remix over, or it was just remixed from the original record?
It was remixed from the original record.
Okay. So then you guys.
Well, actually, we did have to do the hook over, because the hook was a little, to slow it down, it changed the key. So we had to go back in and do the "Love Will Be Right."
Okay, because they didn't, they didn't have the technology back then that we have now, that you can automatically on the computer change keys, right? So you guys had to literally and figuratively go back in and change that. Wow, that's amazing. And like I said, that song is part of many classics that SWV has. And by the way, I'll tell the audience now that's viewing that I told you off camera that I went to your concert recently in Coney Island in Brooklyn this past summer. You guys were on tour, amazing tour, by the way, with it was Drew Hill, Jodeci, and SWV. And I will tell you this, that it was an amazing concert, hit for hit. It was just incredible. The audience was amazing. Everybody was just, it was like a big karaoke fest, because you knew every record, like every record that you guys put on was like, can it get better? And then it got better. Can it get better? And then it got better. And then you hear songs like "Weak." I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly. And you hear that wherever you go. As a DJ, you put on that record. There's certain sing-along records, you put that record with a Tevin Campbell and a Keisha Cole record back to back. Oh, you'll kill them. You know what I mean? And no matter where you go, you put on a weak record. And actually, I was just I seen something online recently. It was a wedding. And it was a wedding, and the whole wedding could sing. I mean, it was like, I don't know if it was like a church choir that got married, or you know what I mean, like the church musical director, and he invited the whole choir in. But they was at the reception, and they started singing "Weak," and they had the 3-part harmonies, and they had like 100 people or so singing the song, and it's just amazing to know that 31 years. Of being in the business, that you can have a catalog that still exists. You can have a catalog that has staying power. You can be someone who's been yourself for 31 years, unapologetically, and have been approved decade after decade after decade. And a personal observation that I have of you guys, and I think I texted you this once before, that you guys were only getting better, and your fashion game was stepping up a whole nother level. Your stylist and the look that you were slaying out there over the last year, and also the recognition that you were getting. And you said something earlier in the conversation that you guys never won an award before. And you were talking about at the award show when you got an award and being recognized. Was that at the BT, or was that what would they get paid homage to you guys recently?
Lady of Soul and
Lady
Black
of
Music
Soul.
Honors.
Yes. And to see you guys having those opportunities, because those are well due. You know, you guys should have a lifetime Grammy Achievement Award. There should be, you know, many accolades that you guys should have, because you are part of a group, SWV, that is embedded in the fabric of not only Black history, but the world history.
Yeah.
And not too many people could say that. So I just want to give you your flowers and let
Thank
you know that you guys have done something that is amazing. And when I was sitting in that chair, and well, I wasn't even sitting, no one was sitting, I was standing up, and I was seeing you on the stage. And I told you earlier before people came on, if you go see SWV in concert, there's a section in the concert where each one of the members have a solo song. And they all come out and they do their solo song. And each one of, and the thing that people don't realize, like I was telling you off camera, is all of you guys are amazing singers. It's almost like a basketball team or a football team or a professional football team, right? Where you have to sort of create these positions and roles in order to win championships year after year after year. And sometimes you sacrifice a little bit to keep everything together as a team. But you hear each one of you guys sing individually, and then you put those voices together with the intricate harmonies that create SWV. You begin to understand how special of a group that you guys are. And the songs that you sung individually was just amazing. It represented your voices 100%. And I was just standing there proud, like I was like a big brother, or like I was a dad, like I was just like, I know her. And I really walked away feeling blessed. And I told you, it's the first time that I ever felt like I wanted to go to the next concert. Like I actually felt like what people feel like when people go to multiple concerts just to follow artists. Like I really, it was something special in the room that night. And
Brooklyn, represent.
Brooklyn. It was Brooklyn. Well, I want to take this second. I might have someone else in the room. So just for everyone in the chat or in the audience, I can't physically see you like a normal Zoom because it's done in a webinar type of format. So I only see Tamara currently. So if you are in the room, anybody from Satellite 4, I don't know if Emmanuel is here, Rosalind is here, Tammy is here, Shashika is here, anybody from Satellite 4, if you could just say here, and then the producer, Emmanuel is here. Shefik, can you let Emmanuel in? Rosalind, Shashika, are you guys here? Can you just put in the chat if you're here? And then he's gonna let you guys into, so Emmanuel is coming in. Rosalind is here. Hey, Shefik, can you let Rosalind in? Tammy, if you're around, anybody from Satellite 4.
Tammy is here too. Hey, Mary.
What's up, girl? How are you?
Oh, look at the Satellite 4 crew.
Anybody else from Satellite 4, if you're in the building, can you please make yourself known in the chat? Just mention it, and the producer will let you in. Shefik will let you into the conversation. Hey, Rosalind, can we see your face and not your avatar?
Yeah, what's this avatar?
What is this avatar thing going on? Well, as we're getting more people, I think we have some, I don't know if Mr.
There she is.
There you go. So we got, okay. So I will set this up for you guys so that you know, so people who are in the Zoom will kind of have an idea of what's going on. So we all are alumni and classmates of an incredible middle school back then called junior high school. It was Satellite 4. Yep, Satellite 4 Junior High School. And it was a time when you
Performing Arts
performing
Junior High
arts junior
School.
high school.
And
Yes.
Zwern is on. He's
Zwern,
on.
Mr. Zwern, can you please make yourself known at the chat so the producer Shefik could let you in this chat? You are an intricate part of this conversation. Mr. Zwern, please
Yes.
just put yourself in the chat and he'll bring you in.
What's up,
So
Dave?
Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
Hey, boo. Hey, boo.
So these are former classmates. And we all went
Yes.
to middle school together. Emmanuel, Roslyn. We're trying to bring our music teacher in, Mr. Zwern. If you're around, just mention yourself in
Alan
the chat.
Zwern.
Mrs. Zwern, just put yourself in the chat. Just say hi, and then he'll be able to recognize you and put you in.
He
While we're
told me
waiting-
earlier he was on the computer, like he was
Okay.
in for you. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe hopefully he'll come back on, but I
Yeah.
will set this up like this. We talked about this a bit earlier. Satellite 4 was an amazing school. It was a performing arts school, the first performing arts school in
Absolutely.
Brooklyn. We were about 120, 130 kids who did their academics in a day, and we stayed all afternoon with each other, practicing our performing arts. We were all in a chorus together. And I will tell you this as someone who has had some experience in entertainment after being in that chorus was like being an assigned recording artist. We sung in stadiums, we sung for governors. We had our own shows. We tore stuff down. We had our own band. We had sets.
Yeah.
We had our own traveling bus. We were rock stars. And
Good old days.
yeah.
Mr. Zwern said his chat is enabled. He's
Yeah.
he's doing it from email. He just sent me a text.
Okay. Wow.
He's
So
doing it
I'd
from
love to-
email. I've never
Yeah.
heard of that.
He's on a computer.
You know,
on
he
his-
might be super old school. He might be still on the
but
flip
Mr.
phone.
Zwern is gonna be like 75. So
Yeah,
and he's living in Florida, so there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in full retired mode.
No,
Yeah.
well, Mrs. Wern was an intricate part of the whole situation. Like Tamara mentioned earlier, he was the music
The
teacher
music teacher.
at a public school,
44.
and then moved on to Satellite 4.
Yeah.
And Rosalind, you know, I got you on. Manny, hope you're coming back. I don't know when he'll be back on soon.
He went to the potty.
Yeah, probably.
You know what?
Rosalind, tell me about your memories of Tamara and school, and you know.
Well, me and Tamara, we actually go back. We were, freaking frat back in the days, and I was at her house. She was at my house. Like I had the pleasure of I knew all of Tamara's family. Her mom. Only one I didn't meet was her dad. But her mom, I think her mom's gonna beat both of us because we got caught cutting school, but that's all another thing. But my mother did. My mother actually threw her out the house, out my house. I told her don't come back till she tell her to. They hit me with a TV guy. But that's all another thing. People didn't back then. That was just raising kids. But
TV guys was soft back then. It wasn't cardboard. It was all paper.
It wasn't hardcover. But me and Tamara, we actually have a big history. We have a lot of history together. And I have said this numerous times to people. I never tell people that I know Tamara. So when I would see her on TV and everything, I just be like, just smiling, because for me, Tamara's fame, her what she became, I think I know more than anybody, right, T? Like where Tamara came from.
Oh.
So when I look at her, I'm talking about, Tamara did the thing. She did the damn thing. Like
I was telling him Survivor was easy because I know how to starve.
Tamara and I was hungry together. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to I think I was the only one really that used to hang out in Tamara's house. So when we released Sat 4, it was me and Tamara the hard way,
Mm-hmm.
Tamara knew my family. I was always in Tamara's house and then our brothers would want to wrestle with us. Like, I don't know what that was about, but we got beat up a lot, but I mean, me and Tamara hard, and I was in her inner circle, what I'm saying? And
we were besties.
we were besties, and we still besties. We just lifing, you know, and we just adulting, you know. But the thing is that with Tamara, I'm just so, and I will say this publicly, I'm so damn proud of you.
Mrs.
Like,
Word.
where's Wern at?
And I love you, Roz.
I'm so proud of you, Tamara. Like, yo, you are the epitome of making it. Like, everything you did was about just, you know, survival. And I'm gonna tell you something, because me and Tamara went to high school together too, you know, and it was like Tamara did what she had to do, and I mean, she came up with some hard knocks. And this girl, I mean, I don't think that I could be prouder of you. I never had an opportunity to tell you that, but you know. And then when we kind of went our separate ways, and not because of anger or anything like that. Like I said, we were just adulting and living and life. But Tamara and I would always find each other, always. And Tamara was there for me in some hard times, you know. And man, Tamara, if I never get a chance to tell you, baby, like, I love you. You are my sister forever, for life. I am so, I can't say enough how proud I am of you and the woman you became in spite of everything that you.
Thank you, Rosie.
You know, baby, you are like, yo, you're my hero. And that's for real. You are my hero. And know that those are just things Tamara and I will always have between each other until we take our last breath. You know, but I know, you know, like, yo, she's the damn GOAT. Like, she's the GOAT. And, you know, and let me tell you something. And you know, you really friends and besties. I go to a concert, right? This girl is on the side of the stage calling my name out. We are sitting up there, whole food. I think we was at Barclays, right? Was we at Barclays?
I think so.
King, whatever it was. But yo, I think it was King's. But yo, when I tell you, Tamara was cutting the food, and the guy that I was doing at the time, he's looking like, yo, she really knows her. And then she gets on the stage, and then she says my name, and I'm like, this girl, yo, we clown like the whole night that night. Then we go to the back, you know. But when I tell you, the funny thing is, you know, the years that we've been apart, we just still love each other. And we, you know, this is my girl. She's my girl, you know. And y'all know how it was in South 4. You saw Tamara, you saw me, you saw me, you saw Tamara. Like, it just what it was, you know. Tamara and Boston, always in trouble.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. This is why, like, you know, I started this company called Late Development 6 months ago. I wanted it to be something of an entertainment marketing and content development company, because I've always been around that, and I wanted to create something that not was only that, but was something that brought community together and brought people together. And you guys are a big part of my community and my upbringing. Right now, I have Emmanuel Lewis to the left, who's sneaking eating.
He is tearing up that
eating.
food.
Manny, we see you. Let me unmute him.
Well, I don't see him, but I want to know what he's eating, because.
Okay, wait, hold on. I got Mrs. Wern. Hey, so I have Emmanuel Lewis on. So those of you who are not familiar with Emmanuel is the former star of the hit show Webster. And Emmanuel was a classmate of ours in the height of his superstar fame, and was always a down-to-earth person. And I love you for that. And my guy, Mr. Zwern, to the right of us. Mr. Zwern.
Bring up Zwern. Bring up Zwern. I gotta hear him.
Mr. Zwern.
How you doing, white hair. What's wrong with white hair?
That's the lights above.
Wait, y'all know who he married, right? Y'all know who he married, right?
Who
Remember the dancer?
Yeah, the dance teacher.
Choreography?
Oh, wow.
It up.
Wow. Wow.
Kept in line.
That's 36 years ago.
Wow.
Wow. Mrs. Warren used to look like Rick Springfield.
Well, thank you.
Rick Springfield.
Yeah. We're born the same month.
That's why you look alike.
Yeah.
He was Bruce Springsteen back then.
Right, Bruce Springsteen.
Oh,
T-shirt.
Well,
remember you had that big poster of him in your music room?
Yep.
Well, let me give the audience some backstory of how important and significant this was, and let's put it in perspective as to where we were historically in the time we were in. So we went to junior high school we graduated in 1984. So we would have came in there in 83. So say 1983, we would have been freshmen in school. Now, mind you, in 1983 in New York City, in Brooklyn, was probably the epicenter of the crack cocaine epidemic. Drugs was rampant, people dying was rampant. We didn't have any of the protections and any of the surveillance and any of that. It was the wild, wild west. And when you lived in, socio-economically deprived neighborhoods like we came from, it wasn't unheard of for you to walk out your house and escape death like every single day. I can't tell you, I used to joke around with people and say, as a kid growing up, I was more shell-shocked than a Vietnam veteran. And that was the truth. Every day I heard gunshots. Every day I heard, Uzi sound. It wasn't just regular gunshots. These were Glocks and Uzis and 9mm and semi-automatic weapons. And people were dying left and right of us. And this was just an average thing. And no one told us about mental health. No one told us about, anything that we are now known to sort of have the tools to be able to deal with. And I was telling TAJ earlier that in essence, our school was what would be now known as a safe space. The faculty, the administration, the teachers, especially you, Mrs. Wern, if I ever get a chance not to tell you this, I have you right here on this Zoom. I was a kid who grew up in the projects in Fort Greene, pre-gentrification. It was tough. It was difficult. And all of my friends growing up and at that time, they were just dropping down and they were falling victim to the whole crack epidemic game. So whether they were dying or going to jail, and that was at 14 years old. So
Right.
imagine when you're in that situation and then you go to a school that allows you to pursue your dream and your passion, to pursue music. And not only just pursue it, because I will tell you something, that I went on to Performing Arts High School, and that was my dream, to go to Performing Arts High School. And I got into Performing Arts High School, and it's an incredible school, incredible people. But the way they taught me music would never be the same as the way you taught music, Mrs. Wern. It was only classical music. It was only for that particular time. The way you taught music, Mrs. Wern, you really impacted many people's lives. Like, you identified with what the kids liked and you understood that. You said, if you guys like gospel, you'll do some gospel music. If you like what's playing on the radio right now, you'll do some stuff that's playing on the radio right now. But you know what? I'm going to teach you some Broadway stuff too, because you might need this for an audition to get into some of the specialized schools. And, you might learn a little classical too. But like, our set was this hogmash of stuff that was important to each and every person that was in that group. And I would say maybe it was like maybe 40 of us in the music department. And the way that not only did you put in the time and pour into us, you made sure that we had a student-run band that was incredible. They were playing all of the student band. The harmonies and the way that you guys took the time to teach went beyond the time that we were there. Because like I told, we were talking earlier, and Tamara and Rosalind and Shefik and Laprina went to an audition and they sung Mr. Postman. And they had that the 3-part harmony and the leads, and that all came from you.
Even had steps.
And steps. It was like, you know what I mean? And to have that situation and to be blessed with having a teacher and teachers who didn't care about what they were making per hour, but they cared about what they were pouring into the kids. Is commendable. And I thank you for that. And in many ways, that situation, I know, saved my life, and saved many of our lives, because it
Absolutely.
was. And so I want to thank you for that publicly. I never got a
Mrs.
chance.
Wern.
And I want to
Stop
thank
it.
I
want
We
that-
love you,
Ma-
Mrs. Wern.
This is about Tamara, but I want to thank you for saying all those kind things. And I'm very proud of you all. I mean, the last time I saw you all in one shot, except for Emmanuel wasn't there the night, was when I went to BB King's and saw SWV and sat
Yeah.
with you guys, and we talked,
Yep.
and I realized how you all had become professionals. You all had made something of your lives, and I was very happy for you all for that. And this is, something that is marvelous to see, and I really appreciate it that after all these years, it's 40 years since we worked together. You were 13, 14,
Yep.
Oh,
and
man.
yeah, the time flies when you're having fun.
I'm
And
still 20.
I really think that it's great to see that so many people did so well. You're carrying your own weight, you're doing everything you can to make it in this world. And
Yes.
congratulations to my compliments to you all. You make me proud to have worked with you.
Oh, we
Wow.
always
Thank
love
you.
Mr.
So
Warren.
Taj, what did Mrs. Wern mean to you?
Oh man, this dude, he was just, remember in sixth grade, I had the biggest crush on you?
I didn't know
Like,
that.
it was crazy. You had your little jeans, you always had your hands in your pockets, like with the thumb out, with your little cardigan shirts. I just thought he was so cool. He knew all the music. Like, it wasn't just rock music, it was R&B, pop, soul, everything. And I just thought he was so cool. And a side note, I remember your girlfriend got robbed one day at the school at PS 44, and I remember she came into your room and she was crying and you were just holding her, and I was like, this heifer.
I don't remember that, but okay.
That's crazy.
But
And
at
Mr.
44,
Warren was just always cool. He taught my brothers how to play the drums.
that's what I was going to
He
say.
was just so dope, and he taught you so much. Literally, I loved being in the chorus. If I didn't do anything else, I was gonna make it the chorus. But I just appreciate you so much, Mrs. Warren. I tell you I love you every time I see you, because I do. I love you from the
Appreciate
bottom
that.
of my heart.
And I don't know if Mrs. Warren remembers this. Remember when District 13 used to have the competitions?
Oh, well, yeah, we were.
Oh, we used to kill it.
We tear it up. District 13
44,
competitions was like, we tear it up.
Okay, so I went to 256. So 256 and 44 was like kind of like hand in hand, right, Manny? We
Yes.
were like hand in hand, right?
Yes.
So I remember Mr. Zorn coming to me. I was in the sixth grade. He was like, "Don't you want to come to 44?" Because at that time, my song was the song I sung then was "I Believe the Children of the Future." Like, that's what I was known for.
That's right. That's right.
So Zorn came to me at Boys and Girls High and was trying to recruit me to 44. And I was like, no, because I had all my friends because nobody, because me and Emmanuel was best friends
Right.
in public school. So
Right.
nobody knew when I got in a fight in public school. Emmanuel used to take the knees and I would take the top, right? So running out, right? Because Emmanuel went to after school at Salvation Army. So he had to make sure that he wasn't caught, right? So, because he's supposed to be in Salvation Army, you understand? So we would, and I mean, it's
The
just
Boys and Girls Club. That's correct.
there you go. And so, but
Did you know that I was never a member, but I used to always go there every day. But I was never
every
a
day.
teacher
You
member.
went him and Chris every day. They was
That's right.
at the Boys and Girls Club. And the thing is, I teach at 44 now, and the picture of all of you at the Daily News is hanging up.
And I'm biting my finger. I always had a picture of my biting my finger. Every picture I had in you guys,
but I'm not even going to show y'all the pictures that I have of us.
Yeah.
And back in Sat 4, it was me, Manny, and Tamara. 3 the hard way.
I shoved my way up in that group.
Yeah, you really did. She did. She made it her business. But again, it's so much history. And Zwerin, to you, majority of us either went to Talent Unlimited, which Miss Lieberman said, don't bring another Sat 4 person here.
Yeah.
Or LaGuardia.
And Erasmus. We all went to Performing Arts High School. The year that I went to LaGuardia was the most students ever in the history of the school to make it into LaGuardia.
Yeah, to you too.
We had the most kids, we had the most students admitted to the school at LaGuardia. And I don't know, I would tell you a quick little story about that situation. I auditioned for for LaGuardia, and I didn't make it in initially. And Mrs. Wern would always like, when Mrs. Wern would have auditions for people, like he would always call me into the room. I would sing Annie, the sun will come out tomorrow. And I had this big voice, but I was scared to sing.
I remember that.
And Mrs. Wern was always telling me, like, why don't you sing? And I would be scared to go take a lead, but he would always let me sing in front of people when we had auditions. And so at graduation, I told him this story, and I don't even remember if he remembers this. I auditioned for LaGuardia, I auditioned for drama and music. I got the letter in and said you weren't accepted. And at that time, they said that if you don't get an acceptance letter, there's no waiting list. You won't get on. I went back home. I cried my eyes out. I cried. My mom came to me and I told her, this is the only thing I ever wanted to do. I didn't get in. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to go to any other school. My mother was like, and she was someone from, not a lot of means. She said, whatever I got to do, I'm going to get you in a private school to go to a performing arts situation. No worries. He's comforted me. I remember that night I went and I prayed like top 5 prayers I ever had in my life. 2 days later, I got a letter in the mail and it said, dear Mr. Wells, you were accepted on our secret in-house waiting list to LaGuardia. And I remember, and I don't know if you remember this, I told you that story and I wound up telling this story, recanting this story at graduation. And I got a chance to sing the song that I actually auditioned for, which was You'll Never Walk Alone by the Broadway play Carousel, which you taught me and got me into that audition. And so, I thank you for all of those things. And a side note for me personally, you meant the world. And I want to connect Manny to this particular story for people who don't understand, Emmanuel. So put yourself in the year 1983, 1984. You turn on the TV. There's this guy. He's on the Whopper. He's doing Burger King commercials. He's jet setting with Michael Jackson.
Commercials.
Right.
He's doing. He has. All these commercials he's doing.
Albums, man.
Singing. Then he has his own show. Now this is a kid in 1983. This is a black and brown brother with his own show, lead character of a show at 13 years old, and his mother was like, you know what? I want to make sure that you're a regular kid and that you have the opportunity to be around regular people so that you don't get all crazy in this Hollywood stuff, and allowed him to go to our school. And I always tell Emmanuel, without him saying anything, my grandmother, Manny, would call me on my phone. And, I was a kid who lived in the projects. You know what I mean? Manny would call me on my phone and my grandmother's eyes would light up. Oh, it's Manny. It's Emmanuel. And that was the type of love and joy and excitement that he brought to the space without him even saying anything. And he was genuine, approachable. He never act like he was a superstar, and always was worried about the next person and worried about what he was doing in school. And I always told him that he meant a lot to me, and I know he meant a lot to people in Satellite 4. So, Manny, come on in and connect.
Put that spoon down.
Put that
Right. Stop eating.
And connect how you are connected to Tamara and story.
Listen, I freaking love. All right, buddy. Take it easy. Okay, so I'll explain this in a minute, but let's deal with the subject matter at hand. And that is you, Tamara. Thank you so much for making us feel normal, making us feel loved and regular.
Yes.
I don't think you understand how well you've done that.
No.
You really don't, because it's all these years, of I see you everywhere. I'll find you in any city, anywhere, everywhere, and we run into each other, and it's always extremely exciting. It's like getting shot with a B-12 or something, right? I'm always excited, but I don't think you understand how proud and excited we are every time we see you do your thing on the stage, because we know from whence you came. And you
Yes.
came from an environment where you were able to hone your skill set, and you
Yes.
came from an environment where people really loved each other, and we did. We had so much fun
We
doing all
did.
the things that we did on a regular basis, and Jordan gets a lot of credit for that. You know,
He does.
he set it up, and even when I didn't want to do half the stuff he wanted me to do, but
Right.
I literally, it's like the feeling I had was when I came back, like I started Webster at 12. I started junior high school at 12,
Yes,
right?
you did.
So I literally would go do all this crazy stuff, meet all these crazy people. And then when I came back home to my crew, that's
Right.
where I could try and figure out
Right.
what regular is, figure out
Right.
what home feel like. So
Right.
when I see these faces and I hear your voice and I hear your names and stuff like that, that was home to me,
Yeah.
you know, because all this other stuff was just, you know, stuff that I was doing and stuff, but that wasn't home.
Right.
Mhm.
Back, you know what I mean? Satellite 4 with my friends, my
Yeah.
loved ones, that was home to me. And that allowed me to feel good because I you know, we're from New York, right? So we
Right.
don't believe nothing nobody tells you. You know what I'm saying? You know, they're telling you you did good, you know, whatever. Let me call my peeps. And we do
Right.
you know? And so that's so
Right.
I never wanted us to take lead. I never wanted to do anything out front. I just wanted to hide in the middle of all my peeps. And for the most part, I was able to do that. Swerve, you know, made me come out of my imposed shell. But I just want to say thank you so much for being who you are, being the loving person you are, being the sweetest person in the world to me and my family. Every time I see you, no matter where it is around the world, I just want to let you know that you are loved by me.
Thank you.
I'm here. This is the anniversary of my friend that passed away last year. And today is the anniversary. And so we're at his house with his wife and the family members. And
Cheers, my friend.
okay,
Cheers,
so
my friend.
needless to say, while everybody's giving away speeches, and I had to walk away so I can give away my speech and come back when I disappeared. But just to let you know that no matter what I'm doing, where I'm at, it doesn't even matter. I don't care. I don't care if I'm in Japan. I don't care if I'm in England, Switzerland. I don't really give a damn. You know, when my peeps were calling at any given time, you holler. We're gonna see about our folks. So
Right, man.
I know that's not what you normally do.
You
kind of bottle stuff in as much as possible.
It's the wine.
But
It's the wine.
if you did, you'd be surprised.
He cussing.
Cheers to you.
All right.
Yes.
All right. I love you too. I love all of y'all. We need to
Yes.
have a step 4 reunion.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, I know. We need to do it again.
Wait, we had one already?
No, well, a long time ago, actually, in Brooklyn.
What was it, like
I
we
wasn't
had
there
about
either.
25 people
missed
come
it too.
many years ago.
2010?
Yeah, like years ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I missed it.
Two
Oh
steps
yeah, we gotta
down in
do
Brooklyn.
a redo because I want to
Yeah.
come.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well,
No,
well, guys, I wanted to bring us on, and I know the Zoom is about to cut off soon, so I got to get a few more questions in for Tamara before this comes.
I love y'all. Thank you for
I wanted to bring
love
us
you.
all together.
It's
And thank
great.
you for those pictures, Mrs. Warren.
Tamara, see you when you get to New York.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you, Elijah. Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank you,
Tamara.
Mrs.
Good to
Byrne.
see you, Roz and Manny.
Yes, thank you.
I got to get your number to you, Mrs. Warren. I'll get it from Roz.
That's good. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Absolutely.
Anytime,
See you all
any
soon.
day, any night.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Anytime.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. This has
Right,
been
I'm
a
still
blessing.
dealing
Can't
with
wait
Great
to-
job.
Vern. We got so many stories with Vern that most people have no idea.
We're gonna have to bring Mrs. Warren on for his hour.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, with a whole
Right.
South Florida situation.
I remember when my mom freaked out the first time our bus broke down. Remember one of the first trips we went on and our bus broke down, Swerve? Remember that?
Coming
My
back from
mom
Albany.
freaked out so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, the governor's
She
office.
never let that
Right.
happen again, did she? From every time we went to any show after that one time our bus broke down, my mom hired a coach for all of us every time we was to go out. And we didn't tell anybody. Only
yes,
you knew
yes,
that. And the
yes.
principal. But from that one time, we always had the nicest coaches because mom was never going to allow us to break down on the road ever again.
Thank you, Miss
And
Lewis.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we
Yeah,
were
Yeah,
very
told
so
me that story.
no one ever knew that. This is the first time maybe somebody ever finding out because it was never to toot our horn. It was to make sure that we got to and from safely. But
Can I elaborate?
we always had, the next time we went out, we had some really nice coaches.
we did. We absolutely did.
Wait, Mrs. Warren, go ahead.
More quickly, the bus we were on was a school bus that
Yep.
I had hired a coach bus, and then I was overruled, and this bus showed up an hour and a half late to get us to Albany. We got pulled over for speeding on the Palisades Parkway going up, and the police officer, I said, well, right here we have Emmanuel Lewis, and he knew who he was, so he let us go. And then his mother's sitting there with the bodyguard. And then we went up, did the show, but up there, when the people up there saw that Manny was in the group, they wanted to change the name of the school to Emmanuel Lewis and Satellite 4.
Yeah.
To his credit, Emmanuel said, if they do that, I'm not performing.
Wow.
So that
Wow.
didn't happen, really.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
really impressed me. And then coming back, the bus broke down. The police officer pulled us over, is what it was. The police officer pulled us over because we were speeding. Didn't break down. And he arrested the driver because the driver had a list of violations. He took
Wow.
him
Oh,
off
my
the
Lord.
bus. Shashika's dad went to the police precinct with him to try and find us another bus. He didn't do it. He comes back just as the time came. A bus came down the road and I waved at it. It pulled over. What's going on with this bus? I said, we're going back to, that's why I'm going to Brooklyn. I said, did you get called from? No, he was just driving home, deadheading. And so we all got on that bus and I paid him cash. And then all of a sudden, Shashika's dad showed up and we all were together and went home in a coach bus.
Wow.
That's the story of that day. That was like
But after
almost the
that,
end of the
we
term.
weren't having no more problems.
Yeah.
Wow. But that's also a testament of how much our families believed in the school.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, 100%.
And yeah.
No, and that was and that also goes to the testament of not only our families but our administrators. Like from the time that you go out on your pocket to the time that Emmanuel's mom, make sure that we're all good, to the time that you had us building custom sets. People don't understand. Like we had
remember
sets to our performances. We had our own rises that we traveled with.
Yeah.
This wasn't a regular situation, and we didn't
Not
have a
at
budget.
all.
You know what I mean? We didn't have a budget for this. This was in the 80s, in the middle of the crack epidemic. People weren't shelling out money for schools, but it was for people like you, for the grace of God that you allowed us to do that. And you was always cool, Mrs. Worm. I don't know if you remember, but I remember you used to pull up in your white Celica. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Car.
Yep.
That was smooth, bro. You
Yeah.
sports car that was riding.
With his jeans and his New Balance.
That's
Remember
always
the
New Balances.
remember
Always.
the gospel piano player that I brought in?
Yo, I'll tell you the
no,
story.
that's
I'll
not-
tell you the story of that. I know the story. So here's the deal. It's funny. The gospel piano player that you brought in wound up
Failed.
stealing your car.
Right.
Yes.
When
He
we
wound
were
up being
singing
the-
at Boys High.
Yeah.
Yep.
He
Boys
wound up
and
being
Girls High, yep.
he wound up being the same gospel choir. He wound up being the same piano player at my church.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he
yes.
drove the car. He
Yeah.
drove the car to
He's
my
a bishop
church.
now.
And I was like, wow, that car looks familiar. And then I found out later that he actually stole your car. It was a wild story.
Yo.
I got the car
remember that.
back because a former student from 44 was at the church and saw it, and she called me because she knew that my car had been stolen. So I
Wow.
went there and I called the cops and then got the car towed out of there. And that
Wow,
was the
that
end
was-
of it.
That was a
Oh my
crazy
God.
story.
Well,
But-
look at God.
Really.
Look at God.
But that shows you what type of car you were driving, because that was a cool car back then. It was a sports
Absolutely.
car, white. You would pull up and you would
Sporty
you would like
looking.
you would come in like
Gospel
something.
pianist stole
Right.
your
Stole the car. And he is now a bishop.
well, amen.
Now a bishop.
Well, God could turn your life around, and sure enough, he turned your life
Apparently.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He sure
around. Hallelujah. And let the church say
Hallelujah.
amen.
Sweet baby white
I
Jesus.
remember that story because I remember him because he played at my church, and I remember him pulling up at that car, and I kept saying to myself, wow, that car looks familiar. And then later on, I found out the story that he stole the car. And I think it was you must have retrieved the car from my church. My church was on DeGraw Street in Brooklyn. And you know, it was over there, but it was crazy.
Hilarious.
Wow.
But I wanted
Sure
to
is.
thank all you guys for coming on and having this little reunion moment.
Yeah.
And with the little time I have, I want to continue
So
to
wonderful.
ask a few questions to Tamara and get some questions in from the audience before I lose them. But thank you guys for coming in. I wanted to do this as a surprise to Tamara. And
I love y'all.
see
Thank you
guys
for popping
soon.
in.
All right. Thank you guys.
Love everybody. Good
Love you
seeing
guys.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Have a good one.
Mwah. Good seeing everybody.
Yes, likewise.
And I'm still not singing Miss.
Wait a minute, Mr.
Mr.
Postman.
Yeah, that was
The
well,
good old days,
yeah,
man.
I hope you were surprised in that. I wanted to do something to
was.
surprise you and bring up some memories. With little time we have left, I do want to
Yeah.
ask you one more question, and then I want to get some
Okay.
questions from the audience. All right.
Okay.
So, and this actually this question ties in. There's an audience member who said, it was something about, are you shocked that young people know younger people still know your music? You know, like the resurgence, like when you guys had the TikTok challenges and those sort of things that happen. But it relates back to this question right here, and then you can tie. So this question is, are you ever amazed that your career has spanned over 3 decades, and people around the world are still singing your music, still streaming your music, and SWV will go down in history as one of the greatest groups ever to do it?
Extremely surprised because I never thought we'd be successful at all. I thought we'd get like a record on the radio and okay, that would be fun. Make a little couple dollars, buy some new shoes and keep it moving. But here it is, 31 years later, we still travel abroad. We're on tour. Everything is still moving like it was the 90s. So I'm flabbergasted by that. And hearing these kids sing these songs, that's just, before they were born, they're singing these songs that are 30-something years old. But that part doesn't surprise me as much because I remember singing songs from the 50s when my mother would listen to things. Timeless music is going to be played regardless. As long as it's good music, it has longevity. Now, the thing that really cracks me up is like last year, excuse me, we did a show at Gramblin's Homecoming, and it was with Glorilla and 2 other younger rappers. And I was like, why in the hell are we on this show? What are we doing here? I don't even know half these people. But those kids, while they were holding their phones up, FaceTiming their parents, they were singing our songs. So they're singing their FaceTiming and singing week with their mothers and fathers and cousins. And it cracked me up. I had to stop and laugh a little bit, but I'm so grateful that I'm a part of that. I'm a part of that legacy, and people are still singing these songs. My son was over the summer, we were on tour. He came to my show, and this boy, I came over to him during a break. I was like, hey, you having fun? And he goes, how many more songs y'all doing? Baby, come over here, Eric. Come say hi. He was like, how many more songs? He was ready to get up out of there. I'm like, dude, you should be the main one happy to be here.
That's not true.
This is my baby, Eric. He's a freshman at Tennessee State
All-American freshman.
Yes, the defensive freshman of the year, Dean's List. I'm so proud of this little munchkin. He looks like his mommy. Are you about to leave, babe? Okay, booty. He's going back to campus. I love you. I love you. Okay, babe.
That's all.
Well, that must be, I think that's probably the 2 things on that note is timeless music is timeless music, right?
It's timeless.
But not everybody has a catalog of timeless music. Some people get an opportunity to produce 1, 2 things that kind of sustain the test of time. But there is a handful of people. There's a very slim fraternity and sorority of people who could do it decades and have not one, two, three, but can do several albums of material, and people still cross-generational sort of situations from mother to daughter, you know, and so forth. So that is a testament to, you know, the timeless, the music, the time that you guys put in, the craftsmanship that you guys put in, because it wasn't like it is today. Everything is today is a microwavable society. It's whatever is hot online, you know, go to the forefront. And sometimes people are not ready to go to the forefront. You know, you need that preparation, you need that discipline, you need to learn your craft and to be really good at your craft. And that's why sometimes they would say, you know, sometimes it takes 10 years to be an overnight success.
Right.
You really do need to put in that time. And so back when you guys were coming up, there was a lot of artist development. There was a lot of teaching. There was a lot of things. There was a lot of
A&Rs.
It was A&Rs, right? So people that helped you sort of connect those tunes to your talent. There was things in place that helped you evolve, and that paid off greatly for you guys for where you are today.
I gotta say, RCA was responsible for that because they knew we were raw. They knew that we needed a little polishing. They hired media trainers. They hired vocal trainers, fitness trainers, like weight trainers. They hired everything so that we could succeed. They were the backbone for SWV. And I just hate that they're gone. RCA Records, especially the R&B department, I hate that it's gone. Kenny Ortiz, he was the A&R at the time. He made sure everything was in place. Like he could hear the slightest thing that needed to be touched up on those records. And he did it. He drove people crazy because he would have us in the studio for hours with his ideas. But they paid off because it's timeless now. You can't get enough of these songs. If they come on the radio, you're still ready to sing them because they feel good. They feel good. So RCA and Kenny Ortiz, got to give them all the credit.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because, you know, back then there was, it was more about the artist development, more about the long-term goal. Because actually when I was reading, when you guys got signed to RCA, you guys got signed for 8 albums. You know, from what I recall.
That was the norm back then.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So when people got into business with you, they looked at it as, this is going to be an 8 to 10 year project. And how do we incrementally, you know, progress the artist's career over that period of time? And they looked at it like that. And it paid off for you guys big time. I'm going to take a few questions from here, right? So let's see. Oh, this is an interesting question. Is there something that you want to do besides music? Was there ever something that you wanted to do besides music, or still do you want to do something besides music?
Yeah, well, I'm actually working on it now. I love cosmetology. I always loved it. I actually went to cosmetology school for 2 whole months. Now I always say I'm a beauty school dropout. But I went for 2 months and I really loved it. But I love skincare. So I'm working on a healthy, organic skincare line to reverse the signs of aging. And one of the biggest things that we don't realize, you don't need a bunch of products. You just need to moisturize, keep your skin supple, and it will grow with you. Water and moisturization. So I have a product line that's coming on that I'm going to do that with. So that was one of my big things.
Well, when you get that, I want to be the first in line to get it for my daughters, because my daughters are like fanatics with skincare. And I always try to tell them, when we were coming up, I was like, you know, I watched my grandmother and their skincare regimen. I mean, her skin was flawless, and she used literally 2 things, well, 3 things: water, Noxzema, and Vaseline.
Yes, I was the Noxzema queen.
Noxzema
down to the
went
top.
on white and washed it off, and it had a burning effect, a tingling on your face.
But it was a creamy moisturizing. Noxzema is the best. I don't know why they don't get the credit they deserve.
And she did that. Everybody in my family did that. And then we all use Vaseline. Like, it's my kids think I'm crazy. You know, I still do it today. I'm like, I want a little
coconut oil.
I just you know, and they were like, oh, that's causing your skin to you block up or whatever. I say, nah, this is something that I've seen generations do for quite some time, and it was effective. My grandmother had the most flawless skin, you know.
I
She was,
never had
oh,
acne, none of
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, and now, you know, you pay thousands of dollars. I know I do for my daughters at times to
For
go
a
to
facial.
yeah. Oh, and they love facials and do all these things, and that's their kind of thing. But like you said, sticking to one thing that's really good for you ultimately will give you the results that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Because people move too quickly from product to product because they don't give it a chance to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be your first customer for that.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to that too.
100%. I'm
And I
definitely
don't want to hear
going back.
nothing if you break out first.
Oh no, don't worry. I'll be the test. My kids will be the test pilots for it. Okay, let's oh, so it says oh, okay. This is a good one. You show that you have a very good work-life balance. How do you keep that a priority?
Well, I only have one son. No, I have two. I have a stepson, but he didn't grow up in my house, and we took care of him, of course, during holidays and summers and stuff. But I have only one son, which you just met. He is my priority. So whatever I have to do to keep his environment stable and happy, I do that. I don't have like a secret plan. My plan is I go out, I work, I come back home. When I step in this house, I am mommy. So my son doesn't have to worry about anything. Like he's everything I always wanted to be. I promised myself before I have a child, I need to be able to give him everything I never had, do everything I never could do, everything he just doesn't have to do anything but perform. And he does that. But it's just easy for me because I am focused. I'm focused on that. So when I come home, everything is the way I want it because I wanted that for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And
Yeah. He's the only thing. My husband always gets mad. He's like, you only care about him. And I'll be like, yes, you get it.
Well, that's how I get how your husband Eddie is feeling, because I'm like that with my wife, because everything is about the two daughters. You know, she's cooking for them, she's doing this and everything. She's taking them to this appointment. I'm like, she'll cook something. I'm like, did you make anything for me? She's like, oh, what do you want? You know, I'm second on the totem pole, but I kind of but I appreciate that. You know,
my dog keeps kicking the damn light.
No worries. So here's another good one. What did I see this? You kind of answered that already. It was like, what are you most proud of as a mother? And you kind of answered that.
Baby.
In terms of what would be the funniest SWV moment from 1990s that you still laugh about today? Which one of
Lily gonna kill me. But this guy she dated, he used to be on the radio. She was strung out on this dude, but he cheated on her, dogged out, and left her. So she decides to go over to his house with a bat, some keys. She killed his car, and we helped her, and we got out of there. Thank God he did not press charges, because we probably would still be in jail for what we did to his car. It wasn't nice. It was not nice. But I bet you he didn't dog her out no more.
That's funny. Was he a radio personality in New York?
Yes, he was.
Would you care to name who that person was?
No, I wouldn't.
That's funny. Yeah, well, you know, and I guess that sounded like it was probably early on in
was like 94. Yeah, like 94, 95. But yeah, it was liberating, to say the least.
That was really when you guys came together, sisters with voices.
Oh yeah. She was hurt. We was like, let's do this. Let's do this. Regulators.
Well, you know, that's how it was back then and still is in general. You ride with your people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, okay, let's look for another one. Biggest misconception when it comes to you. Biggest misconception.
Me personally, I guess the biggest misconception would probably be, I don't know. I have no idea. What would be the biggest misconception about me? Um, I think people think I might be bougie. I think
Okay.
people might think
You're
that.
far
And,
from
and I think that perception comes across because of who I marry, what I do. But even like when I was invited to be on Survivor, they were looking for a certain type. They wanted a girly athlete's wife, probably somebody who was like Gucci down to the socks,
it.
nails, all this stuff, who never wanted to be dirty. But they didn't realize at the
He's
time
from
I was
Brooklyn.
a tomboy from Brooklyn. Yeah,
Ah.
we get down like that, right? Like I
Oh.
said, people are like, how was it? Was it hard? Yeah, I was hungry all my life. I was cool out there. Matter of fact, I was giving away my food. That's what made them love me so much. I was
Well,
2 votes from fan favorite.
yeah, I know. I seen that when and you were close to winning it all. You
Final
know,
four. Yep, my
you were,
alliance. They turned on me because they was worried I'd win.
and it's funny because back then you didn't see a lot of black and brown folks, volunteering to go on Survival because it just wasn't
I
things
didn't
that.
know what I was getting into. I
Yeah.
thought it was a TV show. I never watched Survivor before I went on, and I never watched since I came off. I had no idea. I thought you get on set, you mess around dirty, you go back to the hotel, shower, and come back and do it the next day. I had no idea it was the only reality show on television. I had no idea.
Yeah, well, you represented and you did your thing on that. So
Thank
kudos to
you.
you on that. Another question. This is a question that's kind of goes to you and your husband a little bit. How does it feel to be the first lady of HBCU football, of a HBCU football team?
It's cool. Like the first 2 years, I was like, all right, whatever. But this last year, my son, he went to the school and I became a mommy. I'm like, the hell with first lady. I'm a mommy. I'm first mommy right now. So anything they needed, I was like, there will be no deprivation. Whatever my son needs for this team, my baby going to get. I will walk across the field to the other side, punch somebody in their face and come back. I'm like, don't touch my son.
Well, that I will say that it's incredible. First of all, to see kudos to your husband. For those who don't know, Taj is married to Football Hall of Famer Eddie George. There has been a resurgence of people going back and trying to uplift the HBCU programs. Obviously, Deion Sanders was a very important part of that in kind of raising the profile of that. But people like your husband who could have probably gone to other situations and other institutions with his pedigree and resume, but decided to add some impact into Black and brown people's lives at a HBCU. And then to now have your son be in the program, his son, and for his son to be a first team, for both of your sons to be a first team All-American as a freshman.
Yeah.
Well on his way to following in his dad's footsteps. Must be special. Tell me what that feels like.
I love it. I love it. When he went there, I was like, I was honestly against it. I was against it because he had gotten a bunch of offers from other schools. And the one school that I particularly really loved was Furman University. I
Okay.
loved them because they were really adamant about pursuing him. They invited him up to the school like 4 times. They drove from South Carolina, sat in my kitchen and invited him to join the team. They really wanted him. So I'm like, Eric, you want to go where you're wanted, not where you want to go. These people are going to pour into you at the school. You need to go there. And he committed to this school, and I was geeked. I'm like, yes, my baby's going here. The school is $68,000 a year, and they gave him a 5-year scholarship. So 3 days before he was supposed to sign his commitment letter, he decommitted and decided he was going to go to TSU. I was in my closet in the fetal position. I was like, why, God, why? But I realize now of course, he had to forge his own path. But
Yeah.
I think I don't know if he realized exactly what he was doing because I know he wanted to go and play for his dad, but I don't think he realized the impact he would have on the team. I didn't think he would have that kind of impact. He should have been a redshirt freshman, but they had a lot of injuries and he had to go in. So he gets in there. He's performer of the week. He's doing all these great things. I mean, he was like murdering these kids. They have to tag team him every game. But at the end of the season, he in the beginning of the season, he said he wanted to be defensive freshman of the year. And it came up, he won. He was actually co-defensive freshman. And then he made the All-American teams. He made the dean's list. He just got another honor. He doesn't know yet. It's coming next week. But he got another honor. And I'm just blown away. And I'm like, he's where he was supposed to be. He was where he was supposed to be, and he was able to blossom because he was there. And I don't even know if his dad had much to do with that, because his dad is on the offensive side. Although he's the head coach, he's more offense. He has an incredible defensive D-line coach who poured into him, and he's doing his thing. So I mean, I was wrong. I'll admit it.
Well, you know, I think at the end of the day, you said it. He was where he was supposed to be.
He was where he was supposed to be.
And it's a family affair, so it must be so gratifying for you as the mom, seeing him doing this thing, and as the dad, as the coach, because that could be a very, you know, nervous situation when you're, you know, you're the coach and your son is there, and you know, that right type of tough love and how to turn on dad, how to turn on coach. That could be a little tricky at times, but to know that both of them are there, where they're supposed to be. Like Eddie is leading a program and developing young men and bringing more attention to HBCUs by a Hall of Famer like himself, with his credentials being there, and now your son doing his thing. So kudos to the family, you guys are doing it. I'm gonna take another question. Oh, I gotta read this. So Marcella is my next door neighbor. She's always been a big supporter of mine. Thank you, Marcella. She said, what did she say? She had a compliment. After a 31-year career, you are so beautiful and humble.
Thank you. Now, is that Marcella Precise?
No, I don't know her last name. I forget her last name, but her name is Marcella. I don't think it's not precise, but she's a beautiful. She's a beautiful mom, and she, you know, her daughter is at Duke University right now in graduate
nice.
school.
My nephew just left, Dwayne Carter. He's on the football team.
Oh wow, nice. She's there. I think she's studying like psychology or something in their graduate program. So she's an incredible mom, and she's a big supporter. Every event that I do, she's there supporting me, and she's my next door neighbor. So
well, thank you, Marcella.
Yeah. I'll take another one. Let's see. And then we'll wrap it up, because you've been gracious with your time. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I enjoy myself.
Okay. Well, I will say this. You know, first of all, I want to thank everyone who attended this first Zoom. This was an idea that I had. Like I said, I started this company called Late Development. And the name comes from the fact that I'm pivoting into something later in my life. I've always been involved in some sort of capacity in the entertainment world, marketing world, talent development world. And I'm pivoting into something later in my life, starting something new. It's scary as you get older and you really don't know, you know, where your next situation is coming from. And you're just going out on a wing and a prayer and believing in yourself. And so I sincerely thank everybody who's supported me through this journey. I started a monthly event that I do in Jersey. That's been an incredible event of bringing artists together and giving them a platform to perform. We have an incredible R&B band, incredible soulful singers, and we sprinkle that with, you know, spoken word artists and other sort of performing mediums. And that's been extremely gratifying and bringing people together and creating community. And I'm working with Ralph McDaniels right now and helping him and further developing his brand. And I'm happy to be working with a pioneer. And I've been working with my daughters for the last 10 years, which has been extremely rewarding. And we've done some amazing things together. And so, you know, to be here doing this with you and you being my first guest with this, because I'm thinking of ways to sort of create community and expand what I'm doing. And I wanted to do this thing called Late Development Talks. And I will say this to your credit, Tamara, like every time I've always asked you for something. Like, you know, you've always been gracious with your time. You've always, you know, given me an opportunity. If I say, hey, I need you to do this for me, would you mind? You never second guessed. And I asked you for this like a couple of days ago. I was like, do you have any time in your schedule to do this? And you said yes. So I'm extremely thankful for the friendship. I'm thankful for your favor in terms of being able to do this for me and allowing you know, what I'm trying to develop to pour into the crowd, and the crowd who comes to pour into you. So I'm really thankful for that. And I will say that I know that your mom would be proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I often think about that with my own life, and every step of the way I think about, like, if I had a milestone, like what would my mother, you know, think? And
Right.
and your family would be extremely proud of the women that you are, and the women that you have became, and the women that you are metamorphosizing into, and the many things that you're going to do in the future. And
Well,
so
thank you.
I wanted to thank you for that. I want to end with this. If there was one thing that you want to be remembered by when it's all said and done, if it's one thing that you want people to remember you by, what would your legacy be?
I aside from anything that I've been able to accomplish, that goes without saying. But one thing, excuse me, one thing that people don't realize, something that holds true and dear to me is loyalty. I have known people that have been amazing to me throughout my life. And one thing I tell people is I pride myself on being loyal. If you got my back and you stand by me, you can fall. Don't even turn around. I got you. You should know I'm gonna be there. So I just think that me and my I guess personality in that sense, I love the fact that people know that they can count on me, that I will be there. I'm that loyal person, that ride or die that you can always count on. And that I want people to know about me and appreciate about me more than anything else.
That's a excellent way to end it off. And before we go, do you have anything coming up, or any tours coming up, any new music? I know you said the Skin line, but what's in the pipeline for SWV and Tamara in particular?
We're gearing up. We're still doing spot dates, but we're gearing up to go back out this summer. I can't say exactly who it's with yet because the ink is not drawn on paper, but people will be surprised. I'll say that. And there's going to be probably another show to come along with that. But yeah, we have some things in the pipeline with that. And we actually have taken a pause on working on our biography because we feel like the story's not done yet. And there's just some things that we don't want to get out there yet. You know, everybody ain't got to know everything, but yeah, there's just some things that we're just not ready to discuss. So we figured we hold on that biography for now.
Well, I'm sure everyone would be excited when you announce that tour that's coming up. And for all of those who've never seen SWV live in concert, I would tell you, as a testament to somebody, as a testimonial of someone who's seen actually a couple shows, but the one in Brooklyn in particularly for me stood out because it was an atmosphere where everyone was just singing every word of the song. It was just a moment in my life when I needed to have a moment of just relaxation and an escape from the day-to-day grind, and to, you know, just see the way that that you impacted the world, and your legacy through your music, and all that you've become, and to know that I've known you. And I know that this hasn't been easy. This wasn't an easy journey. This wasn't a straight path to success. There was a lot of bumps in the road, a lot of, you know, personal things that you had to overcome. But to get to where you are, and to continually to do it with grace and with favor, and to be the mother that you are, which is the most important thing to you, I can see.
Yes,
Wife that you are. The wife that you are. You guys have been married for quite some time.
20 years this year.
And it's funny, you tell Eddie, I see him DJing sometimes. He owes that to me because
yes, he does.
first turntable for me. Yep. So I remember that. but you've been an amazing person, and just I really appreciate you doing this and taking your time out. It's been longer than I know that we had anticipated, but I wanted to get in that satellite for a moment, and
that was perfect.
yeah, and give people an opportunity to get a glance into your life, and also to connect to that Ralph McDaniels moment with you as well. And I thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And for all those, we'll chop up this interview and make some pieces of it and put it out there. And just I would ask everybody, if you can, I appreciate it if you could follow me at Late Development. And I obviously follow TAJ on her social media. It's at TAJ. What is it? Official? What's your Instagram?
TAJ George. Streamlined.
George.
Everything is at TAJ George.
Yep. So thank you again. I appreciate it. Everybody in the group chat, everybody that was here, I appreciate you taking your time to spend this 2 hours with us, and I hope that you learned something from it. And this is the first one of Late Development Talks. It went incredible, and thank you for being my first guest. I appreciate you.
I love you, E.
I love you as well. Have a good one. Tell your family.
All right, love.
All right. Bye.
Bye.